branches. Got it? Got it. Oh, jeez. So much wang.
Good morning. All right, here we go. It's Thursday morning. That means it's Totar Win Thursday. And what are we talking about this morning? We're talking about the transcript. Totar Win transcript. You know why we're going to talk about the transcript this morning? Why are we going to talk about the transcript this morning, Cameron? I'll tell you why we're going to talk about the transcript.
It's a trap.
That's right. It's a trap. They walked right into it. Okay, so here's what happened. In a matter of 4, 5, 6 hours, something like that, just minutes almost, we went from there's a whistleblower that's going to impeach Donald Trump to the whistleblower's not a whistleblower because they're not qualified, they're not in the right position, they don't work for the right department, to there's actually nothing in the transcript, to this transcript is fake.
Sure.
Democrats are adorable. The Donald said everything was above board, and then out comes the transcript. And
that's what he was talking about.
No problem. It's clear. Doubt me? Sure. Let's do this then. I have too much stuff open. There we go. There's the transcript. Okay. We're not gonna read the whole transcript verbatim, but there's a couple of little things that I'd like to highlight. Okay, so basically it starts off, congratulations, winning the thing. You're absolutely right, Mr. President. We did win big, and we worked hard for this. Shapiro pointed out that most of this reads like Zelensky. To tell you the truth, we're trying to work hard because we wanted to drain the swamp here in our country. There's a lot of language like this where Zelensky's borrowing directly from the Donald. He's clearly buttering him up. This transcript reads more like Zelensky is kind of begging for aid than Trump is withholding it, right? That's a real key takeaway here. Cameron, you got anything yet?
Well, here's the crux of it. And this is why it's being compared to Joe Biden and all of that kind of stuff. What's basically being alleged is that Donald Trump threatened to withhold funding from Ukraine unless they reopened this investigation. But it turns out that when Donald Trump put a freeze on the funding, he did that weeks ago. And he didn't tell anybody in Ukraine that he was going to do it. He just said, let's see what happens in their elections. You know, there's been a lot of shady stuff that has happened in Ukraine. So let's see how the elections...
For example?
Yeah. What? CrowdStrike? Anyhow. There's been a lot of shady stuff that's happened in Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. So... Trump just pulled back and waited. And even though he didn't get every little thing that he wanted, after the phone call, he actually released the funds. And just on the surface of it, hey, this organization might be super corrupt. Maybe we give them less money to do corrupt shit with. Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. I mean, makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. And if you're gonna blackmail somebody, if you're gonna threaten somebody, whatever, you kind of have to let them know that you're blackmailing them. The threat of, I don't know, I know you cheated on your wife, only works if you tell so-and-so, hey, I know you cheated on your wife. If you never ever tell somebody that you know about this, it's not blackmail. So So yeah, like Donald Trump didn't blackmail Ukraine. And what's funny is it does look like Plugs Biden or Sleepy Joe, or I I personally like to call him I Bleed Joe. Um, Whatever. It looks like he did
Oh,
do
you mean
that.
Joe the Jaw Dropper?
Hey man, listen, I told that guy corn pop. That's not okay, man. That's not okay. And he ended up respecting me. What? Dude, is he even lying anymore? Or is he really so far into his dementia that that might actually be how he remembers that story? But anyway, what and look, to be fair, the prosecutor that Joe Biden insisted get fired, it does look like that prosecutor was corrupt. It's true. But it also looks like this same prosecutor was going after his son. And it looks like his son was probably involved in all sorts of weird and shady stuff. I mean, I'd love to go work for an energy company and make $50,000 a month, even though I've literally never worked in the energy sector ever in my life. In fact, I've got a plan. I'm going to join the Navy. I'm going to do a bunch of coke. I'm going to get kicked out of the Navy. And then I'm going to magically end up serving on the board of an energy company just a short time later, making stupendous amounts of cash. That because that's what happened with Hunter Biden. I mean, that is literally what happened with this man. And so yeah, but Trump, nah, that's not what happened here with Trump. All Trump said was, "Hey, that dirty prosecutor that ended up getting fired, maybe you could have your new prosecutor work with him, and we'll even give you some U.S. assets." Is that somewhat inappropriate? Possibly,
No.
possibly. Well, we have a we have a tradition that we have adhered to in this country, and it's contributed to our stability. That we never bring the weight of law against our political rivals. I think it's part of why Trump did not go after Hillary, even though she was clearly guilty. And I think that's because Trump is smart enough to understand things, despite the all the orange man bad, orange man stupid. But I think he didn't want to open that can of worms for multiple reasons. Not the least of which is one day he is not going to be president. And when that day comes, he does not want to go to jail. He doesn't want his children or his in laws to go to jail. But I think he also understands that once you start down that road, I mean, that's basically what happens in a lot of these communist and socialist countries. You're the hero until you get ousted. Then you're thrown in the gulag, you know? So
Now, why is CrowdStrike, or, sorry, CrowdStrike popping up in here? Um, when when the whole Russia thing began, the the claim that the Russian that the Democrat National Committee server was hacked by Russian actors. That claim originated exclusively and without corroboration from this group, CrowdStrike. And it's important to note that the CrowdStrike group is owned by a guy that's a big Clinton supporter, big Soros funded guy with a lot of very suspicious relationships. Um, I'm still a little fuzzy on the exact relationship between CrowdStrike and the Ukraine, but part of it is that Clinton was actively courting. Basically, Clinton was doing with the Ukraine all the things that the Democrats have been accusing Trump of having done with Russia. And CrowdStrike is a part of that. And keep in mind, this is at the same time, this is all happening around the same time that Biden is using U.S. military funding, and this is a little different. In this, it looks like Trump held back on the funding because he wanted to wait and see what the new president was going to be like, and if there was going to be some real motion on trying to clear up the whole corruption thing that's been a huge problem in the Ukraine. Like I was just talking about with the Clintons using the Ukraine in the same way that Trump was accused of and exonerated for using Russia. Now, around the same time all that's happening, Biden is also pressuring the Ukraine, but Biden bragged about actually threatening to withhold approved aid.
Yeah, $1 billion.
$1 billion. Trump is accused of basically having the appearance of possibly thinking about it that way, whereas Biden bragged about he absolutely 100% without question threatened to withhold U.S. funding from the Ukraine to the tune of a little over $1 billion if they did not fire a particular prosecutor. Now, in fairness to Biden, the thing that he bragged about doing is exactly what I just said. He didn't actually brag about the part of that where Hunter Biden, his son, is involved with the company that was being investigated. So, in fairness, the thing that Biden is guilty of does hinge somewhat on the appearance of impropriety rather than impropriety itself. But that conflict of interest is so apparent that it would be imprudent to ignore it.
So, yeah, long story short, Chris, are we saying that Donald Trump just pulled a great big old Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope here?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I would go so far as to say that he floated like a butterfly, he stung like a bee, and the end result was
Total win. Total win. Total win. Total win. Total
I don't give a rat's ass what the hell you think.
That's what he was talking about.
And I don't know what else to say on the matter, frankly. I think the Demi-Dems just walked themselves right into a trap. They cried impeachment. The stock markets responded to impeachment. And now, not only does the Donald get to say, look at these nutbags, they were never interested in whether or not something happened with Russia or with Stormy Daniels or with any of it. They were never actually interested in what was happening on any things, including this. They were only ever interested in pursuing impeachment the way that they have with every single other Republican president ever elected, because a Democrat, at his core, at the very core, you cannot vote Democrat unless you accept the proposition that it is morally tolerable to use force to coerce desired actions from other people against their will. If you do not believe that it is morally acceptable to point a gun at somebody and say, I will kill you if you don't give me money, you cannot vote Democrat.
Yeah, and dude, I almost feel sorry for them because, man, they're committed now. You cannot put the genie back in the bottle.
That's it.
No, I said yesterday that I believe the shift in Nancy Pelosi came from the fact that she believed there was some there. And I still maintain that. I just think now it's pretty clear, like, I mean, yeah, we still got to hear the testimony from the whistleblower. We got some things to chew through, but whoops, like, they believed it. They're probably wrong. I mean, like Baskin Robbins' 41 flavors of wrong, but they believed it. I still think what this is going to come down to is how many Republican senators flip. How many people are going to go Ben Sass, Mitt Romney, whatever, and flip? Because this is going to happen. Like we're about to have the circus clown world right here. What's more interesting, the Democrat presidential primary or the impeachment of the But yeah, they're they're committed. Like you can't put the avalanche back on the top of the mountain. Snowflakes.
Nope. There's a point at which you're just stuck with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is playing for all the marbles. It really is. And I will point out, okay, in all seriousness, this is dangerous. It is. Like, Donald Trump could be impeached successfully over the equivalent of farting in an elevator. And then, okay, fine, we get Mike Pence. We get a conservative Christian who supports the fair tax. You Democrats go right ahead. Hello, Razor Fist.
Yeah, my bad.
You know, you played Razor Fist. He made a good point, and it's one that I agree with. I'll make a trade. You guys can have the Donald, but we get Obama, Biden, and Clinton, who are all going to end up wrapped up in this same scandal.
Yeah, I hate being there, but if I could, if throwing the Donald under the bus meant a swift and efficient resolution to all of the corruption of the Democrat and Republican parties, I would sign right onto that. And let me be very clear that when I say a swift and effective resolution, I am rapidly coming to be of the suspicion that under Article 3, Section 3, the vast majority of members of elected positions at the federal level at this stage should be terminated under Article 3, Section 3, treason.
Yeah, that's not dark at all.
It's so dark, one might think of it as a sort of pill of the black variety.
Well, that's all I've got this morning. Black like my coffee.
It was a black pill.
No, I got it.
It was a Sharpie cap, but it was the prop that was handy. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Y'all be safe out there. Go get them.